Welcome back to the podcast. Today, we are diving into the latest numbers from a big name in the Indian credit card space, SBI Cards and Payment Services Limited, or as most know it, SBI Card.
That's right. SBI Card is a major non-banking financial company, or NBFC, spun off from the State Bank of India. They offer a wide range of credit cards and are listed on both the BSE under script code 543066 and the NSE under the symbol SBICARD. Always interesting to see how the consumer credit market is doing through their lens.
Exactly. So, what have we got today? Looks like their audited financial results for both the fourth quarter and the full financial year ended March 31st, 2025. The board approved these results on April 24, 2025.
Correct? And since SBI Card is primarily a single entity focused on the credit card business, the results presented are essentially their main operating results. The distinction between standalone and consolidated isn't as pronounced as with a complex holding company. We'll be looking at these main audited figures.
Got it. Let's jump into the core financials then. How did they do on revenue for the quarter and the full year?
Okay, looking at total income, which includes interest income, fees and other income. For the fourth quarter of FY25, total income stood at 4,832 crore rupees. That's up about 8% compared to the 4,475 crore rupees in the fourth quarter of FY24. Sequentially, it's also up slightly, about 1% from the 4,767 crore rupees in the third quarter of FY25.
An 8% year-over-year growth in Q4 income sounds decent. How about the full year?
For the full financial year 25, total income reached 18,637 crore rupees. That's a 7% increase compared to the 17,484 crore rupees they reported for FY24. So steady income growth both quarterly and annually.
Okay, income is growing. But what about profitability? Let's look at earnings before credit costs first, as that's a key metric for them.
Right. Their investor presentation highlights earnings before credit costs, or EBCC. For the fourth quarter FY25, EBCC was 1,964 crore rupees. This is up 7% year-over-year from 1,833 crore rupees in the fourth quarter last year, and also up 7% sequentially from 1,831 crore rupees in the third quarter.
And for the full year EBCC?
Full year FY25 EBCC came in at 7,452 crore rupees, which is a solid 14% increase compared to the 6,519 crore rupees in FY24. So underlying operational earnings before accounting for loan losses are showing healthy growth.
That's a good sign. But credit costs are a big factor in this business. How did the profit before tax, or PBT, look after accounting for those?
This is where the picture changes a bit. For the fourth quarter FY25, PBT was 719 crore rupees. This is actually down 19% compared to the 888 crore rupees in the fourth quarter last year. However, it's a strong recovery sequentially, up 39% from 518 crore rupees in the third quarter.
Down 19% year-over-year for Q4 PBT. What drove that? And what about the full year PBT?
The likely driver is higher impairment losses, which we'll touch on more later. For the full year FY25, PBT stood at 2,581 crore rupees. That's a 20% decrease compared to the 3,232 crore rupees in FY24.
Okay, so income and pre-provision profits are up, but PBT is down significantly year-over-year due to higher credit costs. That brings us to the bottom line, profit after tax, or PAT.
Exactly. Following the PBT trend, the PAT for the fourth quarter FY25 was 534 crore rupees. Similar to PBT, this is down 19% year-over-year from 662 crore rupees. But again, it shows a strong sequential jump of 39% from 383 crore rupees in the third quarter.
And the full year FY25 PAT?
Full year PAT was 1,916 crore rupees. Mirroring the PBT, this is down 20% compared to the 2,408 crore rupees they earned in FY24.
So the clear story is pressure on the bottom line due to significantly higher provisions for bad loans, despite underlying business growth. How did this translate into earnings per share EPS?
The basic EPS for the full year FY25 came in at 20.15 rupees, down from 25.39 rupees in FY24, reflecting that 20% drop in PAT. For the fourth quarter alone, the basic EPS was 5.62 rupees, down from 6.97 rupees in the fourth quarter last year.
Got it. Any significant other income we should be aware of?
Other income was about 158 crore rupees in the fourth quarter and 565 crore rupees for the full year. It contributes, but the main drivers are clearly interest and fee income.
Let's touch on profitability margins. With PAT down despite revenue growth, margins must have taken a hit.
They have. The net profit margin for FY25 was around 10.3%, down from about 13.8% in FY24. The cost-to-income ratio for FY25 was 51.8%, which is slightly better than the 52.2% implied by the prior year's figures, suggesting some cost control but not enough to offset the credit cost impact. The net interest margin, or NIM, reported in the presentation for FY25 was 10.8%, down slightly from 11.0% in FY24.
Were there any exceptional items affecting these results?
No, the results don't show any line items marked as exceptional. So, the profit figures reflect the core operational performance, including the higher credit costs.
Okay, let's shift to the balance sheet and risk metrics. How are their loans or receivables looking? And more importantly, asset quality?
As of March 31st, 2025, their gross credit card advances stood at 55,840 crore rupees, up 10% year-over-year from 50,846 crore rupees. However, asset quality has deteriorated. Gross non-performing assets, or GNPA, increased to 3.08% of gross advances, up from 2.76% a year ago.
A rise in GNPA is concerning. What about net NPA?
Net NPA also rose, reaching 1.46% compared to 0.99% as of March 31, 2024. This indicates that while provisions are being made, the stressed assets are growing faster.
This ties back to the higher impairment losses we saw impacting profits, right?
Absolutely. Impairment losses and bad debt expenses for the full year FY25 jumped 48% to 4,872 crore rupees, up from 3,287 crore rupees in FY24. For the fourth quarter alone, they were 1,245 crore rupees, up 32% year-over-year. This is the primary reason for the decline in PBT and PAT.
How does their provision coverage ratio look against these NPAs?
The provision coverage ratio, as per the regulatory filing annexure, stood at 53.46% as of March 31, 2025. It's important to manage this ratio carefully when NPAs are rising.
With rising NPAs and higher credit costs, how is their capital adequacy holding up?
That's a positive point. Their capital adequacy ratio, or CRAR, remains quite strong at 22.9% as of March 31, 2025, well above the regulatory requirement of 15%. This is also an improvement from the 20.5% a year ago. Tier 1 capital is also healthy at 17.5%, up from 16.5%.
Strong capital is definitely a buffer. What about the overall balance sheet size and funding?
Total assets grew to 65,546 crore rupees from 58,171 crore rupees year-over-year. On the liability side, borrowings increased to 44,947 crore rupees from 39,891 crore rupees. Total equity also strengthened to 13,782 crore rupees from 12,084 crore rupees, boosted by retained earnings despite the lower profit.
Let's look at the cash flow situation. Any highlights from the statement?
The audited results include a cash flow statement. For FY25, net cash used in operating activities was about 2,140 crore rupees. Net cash used in investing activities was around 2,491 crore rupees, largely due to investment purchases. However, net cash generated from financing activities was substantial at 4,687 crore rupees, mainly from increased borrowings.
And did they return any cash to shareholders?
Yes. The cash flow statement shows an interim dividend payment of about 287 crore rupees during FY25. The notes also mention the board declared an interim dividend of 2.50 rupees per share for FY25.
Okay, Since it's a single segment company, let's look at the key business drivers. How are card numbers, spends, and customer acquisition doing?
Cards in force grew 10% year over year to reach 2.08 crore cards as of March 25. Spends in the fourth quarter were up 11% year over year to 88,365 crore rupees. However, new account acquisition slowed down a bit. They added 11.09 lakh accounts in the fourth quarter, slightly down from the previous quarter, and for the full year FY25, they acquired about 40.9 lakh cards, down from 43.6 lakh cards in FY24.
So growth in card base and spends continues, but new acquisition has moderated, and the main challenge is the rising credit cost and NPAs impacting profitability. Any significant notes or events from the detailed report?
Besides the dividend declaration, the notes primarily detail accounting policies, segment reporting, confirming the single segment, impairment calculations under Ind AS 109, and details on financial instruments and risk management. Nothing stood out as a major one-off event beyond the trends we've discussed.
Now a crucial part, the auditor's report. Any qualifications or concerns raised by the auditors?
This is a key positive. The joint statutory auditors, V.K. Dhingra and Company, and S.P. Chopra and Company, have issued an unmodified opinion on these audited financial results for the quarter and year ended March 31, 2025. The company also filed a separate declaration confirming this.
An unmodified or clean audit opinion is definitely reassuring, especially given the pressure on asset quality.
Absolutely. It means that in the auditor's view, the financial statements give a true and fair view and comply with the accounting standards despite the challenges reflected in the numbers themselves.
Okay, putting it all together, what's the outlook and what are the key risks here?
Disclaimer, as always, this is just our analysis of the results, and listeners should consult with a certified financial advisor before making any investment decisions. The outlook for SBI Card is mixed. On the one hand, they continue to grow their card base, receivables, and spends, reflecting the potential in the Indian credit market. Their capital adequacy is strong, and the clean audit report is a positive.
But the risks?
The significant rise in credit costs and the deterioration in asset quality, higher GNPA and NNPA, are major concerns. This directly impacts profitability, as we saw with the 20% year-over-year drop in PAT. Managing credit risk effectively in the current environment will be critical. Increased competition in the credit card space and regulatory changes are also ongoing risks. The moderation in new card acquisition might also be something to watch.
So to summarize, SBI Card showed continued growth in its customer base and transaction volumes in FY25. However, this growth came at the cost of significantly higher provisions for bad loans, leading to a 20% decline in annual profit despite higher income. Asset quality metrics like GNPA and NNPA have worsened. On the positive side, capital adequacy remains robust, and the auditors have given a clean opinion on the financials.
That sums it up well. It's a story of growth facing significant headwinds from credit costs. How effectively they navigate asset quality challenges while maintaining growth momentum will be key for their performance going forward. Their strong parentage and market position are advantages, but the pressure on managing credit risk is undeniable.
A challenging picture indeed. Thanks for breaking that down for us. That's all the time we have for today.
Thanks for listening. We'll be back soon with more financial insights.